So, first of all, I do acknowledge that not everybody that uses ChatGPT and other chatbots for therapy and like for, just emotional talk will end up being psychopaths. That's just ridiculous. I mean, it's not always going to be the case, but there are many, many reasons as for why I think ChatGPT can cause psychosis. I want to talk about this one guy that I was texting, and this dude was the way I like to talk to people. I like to listen to them and hear what they have to say and what they're going through because, like, I don't know, it's just interesting to me. The way this guy was talking, just kind of the way his sentence were structured and the way he was talking, texting at least, just came across to me in a way which made him seem like he's just someone that talks to ChatGPT 24/7. Because I'm not gonna lie, there was a time where I used to talk to ChatGPT a lot. And thank God, like, I don't do that anymore. The way he looked at like his problems and was describing his like own mental struggles. What I'm trying to say is that the way he was describing his like mental health struggles and like issues was the way ChatGPT would describe them. You tell ChatGPT about like a thought or some sort of like feeling you have, and then it gives you this very organized, analytical, sort of like very clean sort of breakdown of it. And the way he was describing his emotions, I was just trying to understand where he's coming from and having this conversation with him. But the way he was talking, it was like he was in this analytical mode where he described his emotions like ChatGPT and wasn't really like talking kind of like a human. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was definitely a fascinating thing to see. But that's just like an experience I had with this one person. And this dude, I talked to him. I refused when I was talking to him, I refused to like talk to him in a way that like Chat GPT does, where it's like validating every single like emotion you have and not really disagreeing with you at all. I will get to that, by the way. That's like a huge problem with Chat GPT, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I think it causes psychosis. But with this person, hold on. I basically was just like forward. I wasn't being mean or rude, but I was just being like pretty forward, and I could see through like the jargon, like all the M dashes. At one point, I think he even admitted to using Chat GPT to like respond to me with his texts, which was like crazy. But I was just super forward, talking like I'm talking right now. It was a bit informal, and I was a bit hesitant as to like how it would come across. I didn't want to come across as like too informal or too rude. But at the end, he was like, "Yeah, I have been using ChatGPT a lot, and it's been kind of like a problem where I'm just like lost in my head all the time, and I can't really like." He basically said he feels narcissistic, like can't really listen to other people. But at the end, he told me I was right, and that just kind of inspired me to talk about like this problem of ChatGPT, because I do see a lot of people using ChatGPT for mental health support, which is understandable because therapy and like not everybody has like great supportive friends and family, and not therapy is not affordable for everyone. So it does make sense, but it is very dangerous, I think. So the first thing is, like I said, ChatGPT validates your emotions. When I was using ChatGPT for like therapy and stuff, like just like little emotional events I used to do, I used to think, especially when it came out and it was like super popular, I thought it had access to the entire internet, and like the answers that it used to generate and like give me were like well informed and were just like the right helpful answers. But turns out ChatGPT is something called a probabilistic generative AI model, which means the answers you get from it aren't given to you because they are right or true, but because like it's been trained with massive amounts of data to like sort of spot patterns of like words and sentences that would satisfy the user, the guy who's prompting. So which like basically every next word in a ChatGPT sentence is sequenced and written only by analyzing patterns of words in its training data. It like guesses what's most likely the next word to satisfy you when generating answers, and it guesses based off of like the massive amount of data and patterns it's been trained with to give you an answer that satisfies you. It's not like the answers you get are sourced from this entire like the entire internet, or really some truthful source where every answer is correct and helpful. It's really just trying to keep you there using ChatGPT and satisfy you, give you what you want. That's what like this LLM is. Taking that into account, that's why like it never disagrees with you when you're talking to it emotionally. It validates your emotions. And I think that could be dangerous because you need disagreement. So for instance, let's say you are angry and you just had an argument with someone and you go to ChatGPT and vent about all these feelings you have about this other person, and ChatGPT is not really going to ask you about whether the thing that they did that caused your anger was justified or not, or really they were doing it because of some sort of a misunderstanding, or maybe they were like going through some stuff. It's just going to validate your anger. It's just going to like agree with your anger and all this anger you feel about this other person, right? That's just one example. And think of like narcissists and people who are prone to psychosis using ChatGPT, how harmful this sort of like emotional validation could be for them, especially when ChatGPT doesn't really it just tends to validate everything and agrees with you so much, right? I also watched this one Dr. K video where he cited like some papers on large language models like inducing psychosis and reinforcing delusions. It's a really good video. I highly recommend it. It's titled AI induced psychosis or something, but it's really fascinating. So there are these papers that he covers, and a lot of them are like sort of have different variables and which are measured, and I think the large language model that was the most likely to make you experience psychosis was DeepSeek. ChatGPT was like somewhere in the middle on the spectrum. I don't know. You should watch the video. It's a really good video. And the thing is, ChatGPT it talks with such conviction, and it validates you and talks to you in a very like sort of clean, organized sort of like answers, right? Which makes you think like, yeah, it's telling the truth. And the reason why this could cause psychosis, especially for people who are already prone to like illnesses and like conditions like that, is that it's just going to keep you stuck with limiting beliefs, and just gonna keep you it's just gonna keep you closed-minded, and confirm your biases, and before you know it, you'd be disconnected from reality and experiencing psychosis. So that's why I think it can be really dangerous. Again, I'm not saying this is like ChatGPT forever. It could like at some point, like when what's it called? General artificial intelligence or super artificial intelligence is there, it could be smart enough to not like make you narcissistic or essentially make you like disconnected from reality. That could happen, but currently what I'm seeing, it's kind of like scary, dude. Like a lot of people who use ChatGPT don't have much like a self-awareness, if I'm being honest. And this has been known for a while, but ChatGPT actually like negatively impacts your critical thinking and your intelligence. Apparently there was like an MIT study which had three groups writing essays. The first group was using LLMs like ChatGPT. Second group was using search engines, and the third group was only using their brain. And the lowest brain activity was found in the first group that was using LLMs, like ChatGPT, to write the essay. Now, this makes sense. Obviously, the most brain activity was seen in students only using their brain, because they're only using their brain, right? There's going to be the most brain activity there. But I'm sure there are a lot more like papers and literature out there suggesting that using ChatGPT can negatively impact your critical thinking. I just want to speak a bit more about like ChatGPT not being this thing that's always going to give you the right answer or the correct answer, because so many people, it's essentially been like, before it was like Google searches, right? We'd Google everything. Now ChatGPT is like the new Google. Like everybody just freaking ChatGPTs everything. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. It's kind of ridiculous, to be honest. Thing is, like it's not like it doesn't have access to like the entire internet. Even if it did, it's only trained on like data where it's like trying. give you answers based off of patterns that it sees to like satisfy users. It's not like it has some like advanced reasoning or like some sort of consciousness where it could give you the right answer, right? It's just like operating based off of patterns. And you can't trust those patterns because hallucinating, ChatGPT and chatbots hallucinating is a big thing. It can sometimes make up things that don't even exist just because you prompted it and it wanted to like give you a satisfying answer. So let's say I asked ChatGPT about whether like a car with very specific details ever existed or not, and I ask it that even if the card doesn't exist, sometimes what ChatGPT can do, it can just make up a bullshit answer come up with a car name and a company, and just basically hallucinate. And when you look it up, that car doesn't even exist. So that also happens. Chatbots also hallucinate. So yeah, I don't know. I just want to talk about this because I think it's important, and it can be really dangerous to use ChatGPT for mental health support.